Straight ahead on NewsWatch, Donald Trump builds his team while Mitt Romney is now at the center of discussion for the new Republican administration. Plus, terrorism analysts say President Obama created a vacuum that allowed ISIS to thrive. We examine the origins of a terrorist group and why ending ISIS is much more than just the battles in Iraq. And a sneak peek at the new Bible Museum in our nation's capital. See how technology brings biblical history to life. And thank you for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. President-elect Donald Trump is working around the clock to lay the foundation for his administration. High-profile people have been streaming in and out of Trump Tower to interview for possible cabinet positions. Among them, former GOP candidate for president Mitt Romney. Charlene Aaron has the story.
Mitt Romney, the 2012 GOP presidential candidate, is reportedly under consideration for Secretary of State in the Trump administration. The past relationship between the two men has been less than diplomatic.
Think of Donald Trump's personal qualities: the bullying, the greed, the showing off, the misogyny, the absurd third-grade theatrics.
Mitt Romney's made a total fool of himself. Did you ever see a guy like this? He had his shot. He had his shot. He didn't like it when I said he choked like a dog. He choked like a dog.
But once Trump won the White House, Romney called him to congratulate him. Romney is one of different names who are said to be under consideration for the position. And Donald Trump is offering former military intelligence chief and retired Army Lieutenant General Michael Flynn the position of National Security Advisor. Flynn served as director of the Defense Intelligence Agency from 2012 to 2014 under President Obama. And he was a fierce critic of the president's military and foreign policy long before he began advising Trump on national security issues during the presidential campaign. The transition team appeared to hint Thursday that Senator Jeff Sessions, Republican of Alabama, would be in Mr. Trump's cabinet, possibly as Attorney General. Senator Ted Cruz is also reportedly being considered for that same position. Despite criticism from the media that Trump transition team is in chaos and disarray, President Obama's former senior advisor, David Axelrod, defended Trump on his transition into the White House. Lots of reasons to be concerned about Donald Trump transition, but the pace of the announcements isn't one of them. That's not a fair shot, Axelrod tweeted. He continued, "We hadn't made any major appointments at this point in 2008. I don't remember being criticized for it." Meanwhile, Vice President-elect Mike Pence asked for prayer Thursday while telling congressional Republicans to buckle up and get ready because the Trump administration was going to move its agenda, and that would mean passing a lot of legislation next year. And Bloomberg News reported that as he ended his comments, Pence said, "Pray for the president, pray for his family, pray for our conference, and pray for the country." Representative Dave Reichert of Washington and the new House Republican Conference Vice Chairman Doug Collins of Georgia, a pastor, then led a prayer. And many people around the country will doubtless also be praying when the new leadership takes office early in 2017. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Justice Samuel Alito is issuing a rallying cry to conservative lawyers and jurists after the nation elected Donald Trump as president. At a Federalist Society gathering in Washington, Alito paid tribute to Justice Antonin Scalia, who died in February, saying he is sorely missed on the court. He said, "We are left asking ourselves, quote, what would Scalia do?" Trump has said he will appoint a conservative like Scalia to fill his post. Alito pointed out that issues like religious freedom and gun rights are at stake in the federal courts right now. Families of 9 black family members killed at a South Carolina church are expressing concern over the latest court hearing for Dylann Roof. A federal judge has reaffirmed his decision to keep Roof's competency hearing next week closed to the public. But relatives of church members are asking for the hearing to be open. They also say it would be hard to deal with the proceedings in December as Christmas nears. The hearing will include statements made by Roof that might not be allowed at his death penalty trial. I want to turn now overseas. Police in Indonesia have brought blasphemy charges against the Christian governor of their capital city. In 2014, Basuki Purnama was appointed the first Christian governor of Jakarta. Extremists in the world's most populous Muslim country say the Quran prohibits them from being governed by a non-Muslim. Campaigning for election, Basuki recently said militant Muslims have misinterpreted the Quran. Those comments led to the blasphemy charge and extremists taking to the streets in violent opposition to the governor. CBN News Asia correspondent Lucille Toulouse explains the politics behind the case.
Mr. Purnama used to be a Sunday school teacher, so he's a very committed Christian, and he has a stance against corruption. He is popular for having that stance against corruption and also having this reformist policies, and so he's very popular, and he could even win the gubernatorial election in February.
Purnama can still run for governor, but he could face up to 5 years in prison if convicted of blasphemy. For more on this story, view Gary Lane's video blog, The Global Lane. You can find it at cbnnews.com. Suicide bombers attacked a city in central Nigeria, killing at least 2 people. This is the 5th attack in 3 weeks in Maiduguri, the city where the Islamic extremist Boko Haram originated. The group has increased its attacks after being silent for a few months. The Islamic jihadist war has killed more than 20,000 people in over 7 years. A snowstorm sweeping through the Midwest is bringing winter in early. After an unseasonably warm fall, 9 states are suffering their first blizzards. Temperatures plunged as much as 50 degrees in Utah and Wyoming. Heavy snowfall downed power lines and made it nearly impossible to see the roads. Cars were sliding, spinning, and stalling out. At least 1 person was killed in a pileup on Interstate 70 near Denver.
Oh, I don't like it. It's cold, came all at once, and it's pretty slippery, and it's pretty dangerous out here.
Snow will continue to fall in the Dakotas, Nebraska, and northern Minnesota. The American Humanist Association is fighting to stop Colorado students from creating Christmas gift boxes for children in need. The group filed a federal lawsuit after they found out that the gift boxes were sponsored by the Christian charity known as Operation Christmas Child. Students are asked to make Christmas gift boxes that include a small note about the gospel. Representatives of the humanist organization say this violates the separation of church and state and that it must be stopped. The Bible dates back thousands of years, but it's about to become the center of the most technologically advanced museum in the world. This Washington, D.C. wonder won't open for another year, but Paul Strand just became one of the first to get an inside look.
We're here in the Museum of the Bible, set to open November 17, 2017. It's going to take them about a year because, as you can see, there's still a whole lot of construction going on in here. Still, this massive museum is on time, on track, and on budget. Vice President Jeff Schneider explains how the very latest technology will allow everyone to have their own custom visit.
It is their personal tour guide, so it will actually allow them to configure what their interests are, how long they're going to be here, who all is in their group, and everyone will get one of these devices and will actually navigate them through the facility, bringing them to the points of interest that they like.
It'll explain each display as you walk up to it, like this exact replica of the Liberty Bell, an actual religious symbol linking America to the God of Liberty. And you'll pass gigantic, ever-metamorphosizing works of art to rival anywhere else. What do the creators hope people will feel as they leave?
That they really want to engage with the Bible, that it's relevant to this day and age, to culture all around the world. That's our goal.
Visitors will work their way up through a biblical wonderland to an expansive top floor with views across the Capitol. There's this beautiful glass ceiling, and up here there's going to be a restaurant, there's going to be something they're calling a biblical garden, and a 450-seat theater that's got interactive walls so they can put you anywhere, like under the sea or flying through the mountains.
Our performance hall with the 3D projection mapping to where it just engulfs them in visuals and sound as they experience shows, really going to get their attention.
Top artists, top speakers, all looking at one of the most ancient books of all time, the Bible, but in the most high-tech, modern museum on the planet Earth. This is Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from the Museum of the Bible.
The world's earliest known complete stone inscription of the 10 Commandments has been sold at auction in Beverly Hills for $850,000. The 2-foot square marble slab weighs about 115 pounds, and it lists 9 of the 10 commonly known commandments. The tablet probably adorned the entrance of a synagogue destroyed by the Romans between 400 and 600 AD, or by the Crusaders in the 11th century. It has been called a national treasure in Israel. The only condition for the sale is that it will be displayed in a public museum. Coming up, we look at the origin of ISIS and beyond, why the terrorist group is now so viral that cutting off the head of the snake may not be enough. For 3 years, the Islamic terrorists of ISIS have brought death and destruction to the Middle East. They've committed genocide against Christians and Yazidis, and they've unleashed terror on the world. How did the deadly group get started, and how do we defeat it? Gary Lane brings us this look at the origins of ISIS.
Church bells ring in celebration as Iraqi Christians return home. For nearly 2.5 years, many of them have lived as refugees in Kurdistan since ISIS overran their villages when it seized Mosul. The fight to liberate Mosul from ISIS control is expected to take months, but it's taken years for the terrorist group to get to this point. Before ISIS was as strong as it is today, it was a network of Islamic extremists known as Al-Tawhid al-Jihad, and it was led by this man, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. Zarqawi was a Jordanian-born Bedouin of Palestinian heritage. He was an illiterate petty criminal. In 1992, the Jordanian government sent him to jail after guns and explosives were found in his home. There he became radicalized and attempted to enlist fellow prisoners in a plot to overthrow the Jordanian monarchy.
To the best of my knowledge, it wasn't on anybody's radar. That was about 3 years before things really got going with al-Qaeda.
After his release from prison, al-Zarqawi set up a terrorist training camp in Herat, Afghanistan. By the middle of 2002, the CIA suspected him of establishing a similar camp and a poison gas lab in northern Iraq, in a town called Kermal. In March 2003, Zarqawi survived a U.S. airstrike on the camp. Then he moved farther south. After the United States disbanded Saddam's army, Zarqawi enlisted help from some of the former Iraqi officers and operatives. And then Zarqawi's band of Sunni Muslims launched an insurgency against U.S. troops, Shiites, and others. Al-Zarqawi became the symbol of the Sunni resistance, and other extremists followed his example, carrying out many more attacks. In January 2004, the U.S. reportedly intercepted a letter from Zarqawi to the al-Qaeda leadership, saying the best way to defeat the United States in Iraq is to incite a sectarian war among Muslims that will, quote, awaken the sleepy Sunnis. Some people in and out of government doubted the authenticity of that letter. Regardless, in October 2004, al-Zarqawi pledged allegiance to Osama bin Laden. He became the leader of al-Qaeda Iraq. In March 2004, U.S. contractor Nick Berg was beheaded on video. The CIA said Berg's executioner was none other than Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. In June 2006, Zarqawi was tracked down and killed by a U.S. airstrike. Following Zarqawi's death, al-Qaeda Iraq morphed into the Islamic State, and quiet cleric Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi became its leader. After President Obama announced all U.S. troops would be removed from Iraq by the end of 2011, al-Baghdadi and the Islamic State of Iraq moved into action. They launched a wave of deadly explosives and car bomb attacks in Mosul and Baghdad.
One of the worst things that happened was that after we invaded Iraq and handled the surge and were in pretty good shape, President Obama effectively pulled out very quickly and left things in chaos.
In April 2013, Baghdadi announced his group would expand into Syria. And so the Islamic State in Iraq became ISIS, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. By December 2014, ISIS had fielded more than 30,000 jihadists and occupied territory in 1/3 of Iraq and 1/4 of Syria. In January of 2014, President Obama compared ISIS to a JV team. Former CIA Director Woolsey is critical of how U.S. intelligence facts about ISIS were altered to fit a political narrative.
Well, this administration starts with a narrative, as they call it, a story, and then they try to fiddle around with the facts to make them fit the narrative rather than changing the narrative to match the real facts. And as a result of that, I think it's fair to say that ISIS has grown in importance.
So how can the United States defeat ISIS? Former CIA analyst Fred Flight says the U.S. and Russian air campaign alone will not do it.
We know from history you can't win wars from the air. But even if we wiped out ISIS on the ground, it's the ideology that has to be fought.
Also, the ISIS money supply must be choked off.
It's a terrorist organization that holds territory. It is able to generate money from oil. It's able to generate money from illegal trade. And it probably has supporters from Gulf states who support these radical jihadists, the same people who have been supporting al-Qaeda over the years.
The Sunni Grand Mufti of Syria agrees. When I met Sheikh Hassan in Damascus earlier this year, I asked what would it take to defeat ISIS and end the civil war in Syria.
All religions must come together and see where this financing is coming from for these extremists and stop it. Many Muslim leaders, they have connections and their wealth is related to the fighting. They are financing it.
Recent leaks of Hillary Clinton emails by WikiLeaks show the former Secretary of State knew who was funding the Islamic State. In this August 2014 communication with her campaign chairman John Podesta, Clinton says, "We need to use our diplomatic and more traditional intelligence assets to bring pressure on the governments of Qatar and Saudi Arabia, which are providing clandestine financial and logistic support to ISIL and other radical Sunni groups in the region." And the war against ISIS will not end with the liberation of Mosul.
It has become a powerful organization, a lethal organization, and one that's going to take a fair amount of fighting to destroy in its home court, so to speak, in Syria and Iraq. And then it also has to be defeated in all of our cities and states and neighborhoods in the U.S. and elsewhere. We cannot just ignore it. It's going to get worse.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
Still to come here on CBN NewsWatch, Duck Dynasty is coming to a close. We'll explain coming after this. Duck Dynasty fans will have to say goodbye to the Robertson family. The family announced on its premiere episode of the 11th season, they and the A&E network have agreed to end the reality series. I had the chance to sit down with Duck Commander CEO Willie Robertson in New York City earlier this week, and we'll bring you a full report on the 700 Club very soon. The 5-year-old show will air new episodes through the spring, with the final episode coming in April. Well, if you are looking for a little entertainment, we've got your family-friendly movie reviews right here every weekend. This week, our friends at Plugged In Online bring us a review of the new movie called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Take a look.
Yesterday, a wizard entered New York with a case.
The movie Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them takes place in New York City circa 1926. It may look like a typical busy metropolis of the past, but there's a lot of unseen magicking going on just beneath its surface. Not the least of which is the magic meanderings of a magizoologist named Newt Scamander.
First trip to America?
Yes.
Must get that fixed.
This fidgeting, soft-spoken guy is in the Big Apple on a mission involving a rare supernatural beastie. But in the process of things, a number of other crazy critters end up escaping from the magically contained zoo he keeps in his suitcase.
It was open?
Just a smidge.
He and a mugglish nomad named Kowalski must track all these capering creatures down. But they soon get caught up in a bigger problem. There's a powerful, mysterious, and evil force rampaging through the city. And if it's not soon caught, it could stir up a war between the witch community and all of mankind. Written by Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, this CGI-filled pick is designed to set up a new movie franchise. As such, it sometimes feels like it's trying to pack too much in its cinematic suitcase. Along with themes of acceptance and friendship, the film is overflowing with magical creatures, characters, and lots of wand-zapping peril. And all that dark magic alone is enough to earn some parental consideration. So I'm giving Fantastic Beasts 2.5 deadly swirling entities out of 5 for family friendliness. For an in-depth review of this film or anything else at your local box office, visit us at pluggedin.com. Plugging you into the movies, I'm Cheryl Wilhelmy for Focus on the Family's Plugged In Movie Review.
A U.S. astronaut has become the oldest woman in space. At 56-year-old Peggy Whitson was the first woman to command the International Space Station in 2007, but her launch Friday gave her a new record, becoming the oldest female astronaut to fly in space. This is Whitson's third mission. She will also be the first woman to command 2 missions at the International Space Station. She launched into space from Kazakhstan on Friday and will arrive at the International Space Station Saturday. The team will carry out scientific investigations that will last until May of 2017. It is time now for your Friday Faithful, and today I want to encourage you to be your best and receive God's best. If you're wondering exactly how, remember this. Meditating on God's promises positions you to receive them. Expect great things to happen and watch God honor His word. That's a word to bring you a fabulous Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I pray you'll deliver that good news to others who so desperately need to hear it. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about, and you can always find it at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right back here on Monday. Have a fabulous Friday and a wonderful weekend. We will see you come Monday.